So there's the front cover. The slides will come up as well. Giving for property, our first step. Just notice that line, our first step. That'll kind of make sense as we go through, that we're not thinking actually in this moment, this season of life, about our final step as far as a building that would house Anchor Church on into the decades. We're actually just thinking about the first step in that direction. So if you open up to that first page, the goal just is right there, isn't it? You get to the reason why in just a minute, but right up front, what we're attempting to do in this little moment, in this point in history together as a church, is to get giving to Anchor Church, what does it say? Giving to get Anchor Church ready for a purchase. So we're just trying to get ready. If an opportunity was to come our way at the moment, we wouldn't be able to jump on it because we're not ready. So we're trying to get ourselves ready and take the first step in that direction. You can see that fancy, well, it's not fancy, is it? That cup with a bit of something in it. That's the Anchor property account, or a description of that. Currently, the Anchor property account has some money in it. It's been open for about 1.5 years, and there's been a few people contributing to that account and a couple of larger size gifts. And that means there's currently now about 120,000 in our property account, which is a savings account, and it's just sitting there, which is encouraging to have that sitting there, but it's not quite big enough for us to do anything with just yet. So the goal that we're giving ourselves to is to try to get that into something that's big enough that we can use. And so here's the attempt. We're trying to get it from 120,000. Our goal is to get it to 400,000. And then with a deposit, raising a deposit like this, we would add then a bank loan to that deposit, and then, God willing, we'd be able to make our first purchase as a church, purchase some kind of property. Does that make sense? Come back to it if you've got a question. Down underneath that page, the next slide there, thanks Hugh, just kind of orients you there with, here's where we are. We're on that first dot this week. So just 3 weeks of this, normal church with a little piece like this to provide information and give a chance for questions, and then there'll be a Sunday on the 24th of August where we're going to encourage everybody to be giving as you're able. Flick over the page and you get the reason. Here's the reason behind it all. We're thinking into the future and attempting to take our first step towards our long-term church building goal. If you're new here to Anchor, this is not our building. We rent this building, and our rental agreement is coming to an end soon, and we need to decide what we're going to do next, whether it's even a possibility to extend it here. Anchor's moved around a fair few times over the years, but what we're trying to do is look long-term into the future and think what kind of a building could house a ministry to keep growing the gospel long-term into the future, and we're thinking, what's our first step now? You can see that box over to the right there, that bigger box. It says a church building for the future, approximately $5 million plus. As you think about a building that would house a ministry that's larger than we are now but give us room to keep growing on into the future, you're talking about a decent size figure. And how does a church like us get to the point where you can buy something that kind of dollar value? Well, by taking steps towards that. Yep. How do you climb a massive mountain? You just start taking steps. Someone told me one day, how do you eat an elephant? Just one bite at a time. And you'd be surprised how much you can eat. So that's not meant to be funny. What we're doing is we're heading in that direction. So here's the first step that we're looking at. It's likely going to be what we're calling an investment property, which has got a dollar value of about $1 million. And that will be our first step, and you can see there's boxes in the middle with dots between them. I'm not sure how many steps we're going to need to take before we can find ourselves being able to buy a building that will hold us larger than we are today and give us room to grow in the future. But here's the first one. I'll just read what's underneath that. Since Anchor began in 2020, we've moved location 5 times. Each year we've grown and changed as a family, and God willing, we'll continue to grow and change over the next 5 years. Facilities can play a big part in constraining or enabling growth and development for a church. We'll likely need to keep renting for a few more years. However, rental spaces are becoming less available and less able to cater for our growing needs. And we're feeling that right at the moment as we consider what the options might be next. There aren't many options that can house a church that's wanting to continue to grow right now. It's very limited, which is why you need to start thinking in this direction. While it is possible to grow the gospel without owning a building, just want to acknowledge that. We haven't owned a building up to this point, but the gospel has been growing through this ministry. It's possible to grow the gospel. Typically, buildings help churches continue to grow the gospel beyond the present moment into the next generation. So we're trying to think about the emerging generation that's growing up in this church and how you set them up for decades into the future to keep growing the gospel. Wouldn't it be great to set up that generation for the future? So let's take seriously this first step toward the goal of owning a facility that helps the gospel grow for generations to come. Next page. Can we afford it? Trying to anticipate questions here. Can we afford it? Basically, it will be a stretch for all of us, and we'll need to trust God as we take this first step, but we'll only do what we can afford to do. Yep. We'll just see what we can afford to do and we'll take that step. As we raise this deposit, it's important that we can keep paying for our monthly ministry running costs. Ideally, let your property gift be in addition to your regular ministry giving, and avoid simply diverting your current ministry giving into property. Many of you have been in Anchor for a while, and you give regularly, and you give to the ministry account, which just pays for the ongoing running costs of church. As we think about giving to the property account, if we all just divert giving from ministry into property, then we're going to have problems paying for the running costs of church. So that's just an encouragement to consider what we're doing here as in addition to what you currently give to the ongoing running costs of church. Give to property. That's the encouragement. Is that clear? Where will the money go? If you look underneath that, all property giving will remain in the Anchor property giving account, earning interest until the time comes to make a purchase. Yep. The decision to purchase will be made by the Anchor administration team in consultation with the ministry team, and a quarterly giving update in church will report on the balance of the funds in the property account and the annual finance report at the AGM booklet each year, which is a really detailed one. So if you've been around for a little while, you will have seen me jump up and give the quarterly giving update. And as part of that quarterly giving update, we talk about how we're going, paying for the running costs of church, ongoing month on month, but also there'll be a report giving on how the property account is going. You've probably noticed that's been in the last bunch of giving updates anyway. So you'll be able to see what you give is still in that account, and it's sitting there until we make a decision to purchase something, and that decision will be made by the admin team. You with me? Next page. What can you do? The first thing we all want to be doing is to be praying about this. Probably right now your mind might be spinning and you're thinking all kinds of details. That's normal and natural, but can I encourage you all to begin with prayer? Like pray tonight, pray this week, be in prayer. Take some time to ask God to help you see in what way you may be able to give. Second thing, chat about it. Like, who have you got to chat to about this? Chat with family, chat with friends, fire questions at the admin team, fire questions at me. You can fire questions in just a few moments. Third thing, decide. See if you can make a decision before August 24th about what you're able to do. And if you're able to on that day or around that time, give what you've decided to do. That would be very helpful. Fourth thing is indicate. So there's a property giving form. You can see that in the booklet there. And we'd encourage everybody, if you don't have to fill out a form, but if you do fill out that form, then we as a church can assess how we go as far as a result off the back of this time together. And it also helps you sit down and decide, here's what I'm going to do, and you write it down. It's part of what's helpful to do together. Underneath that, you can see that line, and this is really important. I want to keep emphasising this. Please remember, friends, you do not have to give. Okay? It's really important. Please don't feel pressured into doing this. You do not have to give. If you don't give, because you can't give, you won't be treated any differently from anyone else in church. Don't do this out of compulsion. Do this out of prayerful, careful worship of God and what you want to see happen through this church. Just understand the needs that we've got and the opportunity that's ahead of us. Yep. You'll see there the questions and feedback. You see those 4 pictures at the bottom? That's your administration team that you vote in to sit and represent you in financial decisions. So that's Amber and Gemma and Jeremy and Matt Amber and Matt are here tonight. Gemma and Jeremy were here this morning. You can ask them questions, okay? And they should be able to answer all your questions. General inquiries, you can email me. Finance inquiries specific, you can email or chat to our treasurer, which is Matt Evans. And you might have finance specific questions, or just before you give, you might want to check, is these the right account details? Can I just throw $1 in before I throw it all in because I want to make sure it's all right? You can talk to Matt about doing that. He'll answer all those kinds of questions. Final page, or second last page. What would we need? Well, these three things typically to make something like this happen. We need one-off gifts, which means like on August 24, if you're able to drop a one-off gift, a generous, sizable one-off gift there. If you're not able to do that, or you want to do as well as that, an ongoing gift into the property account. Ongoing gifts will be something that builds up over time and will get a larger deposit, or what that'll do is help us service a loan, because we'll need to pay loan repayments, and that'd be great if that can all come out of the property account. So one-off gifts, an ongoing gift, and interest-free loans. Now, obviously, not everyone's in a position to do that, but if we thought we'd just put that out there, in case there were some of you who did happen to be in a position where you had a sizable amount of money that you're not doing anything with, and you'd be happy to loan it to church on some kind of time frame where it gets paid back to you. It'd be like a private agreement with church. And that could be the kind of thing that helps us get over the line if we're very close to a purchase, but we need a couple of extra 100,000 or whatever, and you're like, yeah, I got 300,000 to drop on you. Anyway, just throwing that out there. You never know, do you? So Property Giving Sunday, that's August the 24th. You can bring your gift and your form on that day. If you'd prefer to do it digitally, you can scan the form, and you can do it online if you like. The forms will be collected by our treasurer, and he will be the one who tallies it up, and we have a look at how we've gone. There will be a special giving box on the day. I'm looking at the back wall because we're thinking we'll just pop it there. It'll look different from our normal giving box. It'll be the property giving box, and we'll probably have someone standing next to it like a security guard in case people do want to give cash over that weekend, and maybe you can fist bump the security guard as you pop your form or whatever in the box. We're not going to make a big deal of it, not a big song and dance and parade. It'll just be up the back, and on that Sunday, if you've got a gift and a form to pop in there, you do that maybe during the break, maybe before church, maybe after church. You do it however you want, but it's a significant thing to be attempting to do together. There's a prayer on the back, and that's the kind of prayer that we want to be praying in this season as we attempt this together. And we're going to pray after the break, aren't we, about this kind of thing. But there you go, there's the booklet. But feel free now to throw your hand up and just ask a question that might have come to your mind as we just did that, because chances are someone else has got a very similar question. No such thing as a dumb question, all right? Did everyone hear that question? Which is the question of what's it going to take for us to get there? How much do we all need to give? So if we're trying to get from 120 to 400, that's a difference of 280, yep. And there are about 160 adults in Anchor Church who say, yep, this is my church and I'm here. There's a bit more than that, but that's probably about how many say we're in. So what's 280 divided by 160? Anyway, it's a figure somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000. So if everyone in church could give something close to $2,000, we would get there. Now, some people can't even come close to that. Others could give 10 to 20 times more than that. But on average, about that kind of figure, which is why taking this kind of first step, the administration team believes is an achievable thing. Yep. But of course, you think and pray about what you're able to give, but that's just a figure to just to say, yeah, this is the kind of thing a church our size should be able to do. We want to trust God, and maybe we'll be able to do way more than the goal. Wouldn't that be wonderful? We'd be able to try and purchase something we could possibly use for some type of ministry. as opposed to this first purchase just being a first step into the market where we build capital, service a loan, and then take another step beyond that. Yeah. Thank you, Sally. Does that get the ball rolling for any more questions or? Cool. That's good. That's fine. We'll leave it there.